There is a belief in India that no matter how many sins you have done, how many bad deeds you have committed, if you just take a bath in the holy river Ganga, then all your sins are forgiven. You're liberated from all your charges. Proof of reserve has emerged as one such holy grail for all the crypto exchanges. Exchanges are releasing their proof of reserves and bam, pretending that everything has suddenly become alright. People are approving these exchanges as trustworthy, but these proof of reserve that has been published actually prove nothing. The exchanges know that, but people don't. And exchanges know that too. Last month we did a very detailed video on proof of reserves and what it means, explaining it to people who don't even understand anything about crypto. You people love that, so thank you. And if you haven't watched it, just take 5 minutes of your life because it will make everything so clear. But no worries. In one simple line, if I have to tell you what is proof of reserve, is just a proof that all the assets that has been deposited by the users into an exchange actually exist. That in any circumstances, the exchange will be able to return, will be able to provide these funds to the users whenever they withdraw. Pretty simple, right? Binance announced that they have $60 billion in their reserves and they are covering their users' deposits by 101%. How can you argue with that? I mean, why Sankalp? Why are you running behind these innocent exchanges that are trying to do good, trying to be transparent and disclosing everything to the users? These exchanges that look so innocent are not. They are showing you everything, but they are revealing nothing. The devil is in the detail. And before we go into the detail, we need to go somewhere else. We need to understand how these audits are actually being done. It is the most important piece in understanding this puzzle. A proof of reserve audit must verify these 3 things. First, verify that the exchange owns the assets they claim to own on behalf of their customers. Then, a user verifiable cryptographic proof that their account balances were actually involved in the audit. And then, the final step is signatures proving that all the custodian wallets are within the control of the exchange. These are very important, and these are not my words, rather the word of the CEO of Kraken, Jesse Powell. Kraken, along with Coinbase, is one of the most highly regulated crypto exchanges in the world because these exchanges are actually listed in the US, coming under the regulation of the Security Exchange Commission. And not to mention, they have very high regulatory standards. They have to publish their financial statements every quarter with the SEC. Now you understand why all these crypto tokens were running day and night, fearing that they would get classified as securities, because then you would have the burden to comply with all these regulations and transparencies. So the problem is not with these listed exchanges, the problem is with the privately owned exchanges. These exchanges, which are one of the largest exchanges in the world, FTXs, Binances, even after handling billions of user money, these exchanges do not have any clarity, any disclosure about the assets, liabilities, financial statements, internal controls, etc. And it was Binance who proactively called for proof of reserve audits to be disclosed, to be released by the exchanges, and was the first one to release their own proof of reserve statement way before than others. This led to pressure on other exchanges. Those who made delays into publishing their proof of reserves, suspicions grew on them. After FTX debacle, people were not ready to trust on these centralized exchanges who had no clarity on what they do with their customer deposits. I mean, if the second largest exchange of the world with $60 billion market capitalization can fall, well, anything can happen. Drawdown from these exchanges, these centralized exchanges, reached $3 billion. People were starting to withdrawing their bitcoins, moving them into their hard and cold wallets, and proof of reserve seemed to be the only way to bring back this lost trust from the customers, from the users, and all these exchanges did not want to lose out on it. So finally, they were forced to release their proof of reserves, giving users confidence that their balances were actually being maintained by these exchanges and not getting illegally used in order to, buy some Shiba coins. and each user can check that with the help of Merkle trees. Merkle trees are basically a data structure made from user balances. Well, if you really want to prove that the exchange actually maintains all the user balances, you can just sum all the users' balances and check against the absolute figure. But Merkle trees are way more than that. It allows each user to check if their individual account balance was included in the audit and if any discrepancies of any movement of funds happened after that. And Merkle trees do this by converting each user balance into a hash by using a specific hashing algorithm. Now, the speciality of this hash is that this hash keeps on changing on with the change in the information, with the change in the user balance, and there is no way to reverse engineer the user balance from the hash because this hash will be publicly available, but no one will be able to see or peek into your user balance based on that hash. And now all these user balances which has been converted into hashes are paired together and converted into a new hash. And this process continues again and again until we reach at a single hash, which we call the Merkle root. And this Merkle root is all that we need to monitor if we want to monitor the flow of funds from the custodian wallets of the exchange. Because if the exchange moves any part of your funds from your account, the hash of your user balance will change. And this cascading effect will ensure that the Merkle root changes. So there is no way to disproportionate the funds without affecting the Merkle root. Also, each user will be provided with a Merkle leaf, which is basically the Merkle hash, against which it can check whether its own balances, its own individual balances were included in the proof of reserve audit. You can go to CoinMarketCap and see if your exchange has released its proof of reserves, and then you can go to your exchange's website and use the Merkle leaf to look at your individual balance in the exchange's custodian wallet. And Binance was the first one to call out for the need of proof of reserves in the exchanges community and was the first one to release their own Merkle tree as well as the proof of reserves data. They revealed $60 billion in their token assets and also reported that they were 101% collateralized over their user deposits. That is, they had 101% funds to cover their user deposits in case of a withdrawal. Well, everyone looked at it and everything seemed alright, but truth was far from public eye. Auditors who have been auditing similar companies and experts were quick to call out many red flags in this proof of reserve report that has been reported by Binance. A quick look at the tokens that were being held by Binance raised many questions. First of all was USDT, the stablecoin which has been issued by Tether. Tether has been heavily criticized for its lack of transparency over its reserves. People wondering if it really has a 1:1 peg along with US dollar. That's exactly why it was heavily affected during the crypto winter. People also pointed finger as the BUSD, which is Binance's own stable coin, and whether it was wise to have its own branded tokens in its balance sheet. But that is not a case of worry because BUSD is actually being issued by Paxos, which is one of the most regulated stablecoin issuer currently. That means BUSD is a very safe asset to hold. But the other own branded coin that Binance was holding was BNB, which was actually Binance's own native token, which has been renamed to Build and Build. But that doesn't change the fact that it is a highly volatile token, and having this in your reserves actually weakens the quality of your assets by a lot. But the biggest problem that Binance had with its proof of reserves was way more than its quality of tokens. It was the way these audits were done. One must understand that the objectives of these audits to give a clear picture of the financial transaction, the financial state of affairs of the exchange, and it must be done by an independent external auditor. And the biggest problem with Binance was its arrangement with Mazars, which was the auditor who did the proof of reserve audit. Binance asked Mazars to perform agreed upon procedures while conducting its audits. That is, Mazars did not have the independence to verify whichever assets it wanted, to look at whichever aspects of the business it wanted to give an objective opinion about. Rather, it was stringently directed by Binance to do this, And that is really not an audit. It's as if Binance wanted to do their own audit. And of course, they want themselves to look good. Several people in the industry started pointing out at it, and Mazars was left with no choice but to leave the audit of Binance midway, citing that it was really not an audit but just a limited review. The audit also did not have any information about the efficiency of internal controls of Binance. None of the exchanges audit have any findings or any points about their internal controls efficiency, which is an important aspect for an exchange at this scale handling users' money. To give some perspective about the importance of internal controls, Quadriga was one of the largest crypto exchanges of Canada. Overnight, it was shut down, filed for bankruptcy, and 250 million Canadian dollars were down into ashes. People never found it, all because the founder of Quadriga died under unforeseen circumstances, and only he had all the signatures, all the passwords to these crypto wallets where these funds were stored, and there was no way to recover these funds because they could not find out the wallets. So the key question is, under such emergencies where some unforeseen situation happens, are there processes in place in these crypto exchanges to handle these important operations that are entrusted with user funds of such billions and billions of dollars? I'm not saying Binance is going to close down tomorrow, but crypto exchange which handles $60 billion of user deposits, and we don't even know which country this is based off. Don't you think it must conform to all these regulations and disclosures and not hide behind the funny argument of we are decentralized? The curious case of Binance, an exchange who set out to become the leader of the crypto community, but all that he did was to fool people. If you have liked the video till now, do hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you do not miss an update when we release our next video.